This is Gippsland FM, your community connection here in Latrobe Valley, where there is so many wonderful people. Most of those are probably inside today. It is a little bit chilly. Speaking of the weather, it is 21 today. There's been a little bit of sprinkles of rain, certainly a bit overnight, so you don't have to water your garden. But then it's going to fine up tomorrow. The weather working towards a beautiful, very hot Saturday of 35. This is Business, Wealth and Mental Health, the show that explores how thriving businesses, wise financial management and peaceful relationships are good for your mental health. And in the studio today with me, I have two lovely ladies. I have Wendy and I have Sharon from Newborough Parkrun. How are you, ladies?
Great. Good. Good to be here.
That's fantastic. And tell us a bit about the Parkrun. What actually... how did you get involved with that? Because to most people, I think running kind of sounds a bit painful.
Yeah, we actually think running is painful. We don't really enjoy it, but I think I do recall my journey, and that was receiving an email many years ago, well, likely about 8, that they were starting up a parkrun in Newborough, and I thought, fantastic opportunity. I come from a family of community-minded people, always participating. And so I put my hand up to volunteer, and Sharon was one of the people who come along as well. So we didn't really know each other before then. And in that time we volunteered and then become run directors, and not long after became co-event directors. So it's an awesome experience and really love giving back to the community.
So Sharon, what is Parkrun? What actually happens? Is it a cult, or is it what happens?
I do actually like to refer to it as a cult. It's one of my favourite things. It's basically just a free 5-kilometre run that happens every week. It's free to join. It happens in cities and towns across Australia and across the world. In Australia alone, there's 486 parkrun events, which is fantastic to think about how many people that touches. And actually, just from Parkrun Australia, there was 91,500 people participated in Parkrun in Australia alone on Saturday just gone.
So it's an organised group of people that around Australia, around the world, as you said. There's a number of the people getting together.
Yeah.
Is it mandatory that you run?
No, absolutely not. It's in some parkruns do have a higher percentage of people that run than walk. Newborough, we're really lucky. We've got about 50% run and 50% walk. You do not have to run. You don't have to be a runner. You don't even have to be a fast walker.
What was the real motivation behind Parkrun? Why did it start? What is it about?
So I think it was two gentlemen in the UK who got together and established the 5K event with only a few people for a start off, and that's Bushies Parkrun. And they wanted to provide a community service where people could come together and it didn't cost them, but they got the benefits of mental health and wellbeing as well as physical wellbeing. And in such a short time, that spread globally, not just in the UK, which now attracts hundreds of people. And it's an experience, but we love our little Newborough Parkrun because you've got that community event where you know everybody and you see the newcomers and you think, oh, hi, how are you? My name's Wendy, and welcome to Newborough Parkrun. So
I remember that welcome myself only a few weeks ago. But little's probably not the right word for Parkrun in Newborough, because from what I've seen, there's tons of people turning up regularly.
Yeah, we're starting to get between the 80 and 100, which is still small compared to the one I did in the UK was like nearly 800.
But there are a lot of people cramped into a small spot in the UK. Yeah. That's probably not a fair comparison, because the UK would fit in Latrobe City, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it probably would, yes.
One of our park runs in Gippsland, Phillip Island, had their record just last Saturday of 395.
Okay, so we've got a goal to beat. Not that they're competitive
We're
or anything.
ebbing away.
Well, how do people get involved, Sharon? What can they do? How do they register? What do they need to do?
So if they go to parkrun.com.au, register on the website. Only register once. You just need to register once, and that will actually get you onto any parkrun around the world. You get a little barcode that they email you, and then when you cross the finish line, you get a little token. You hand the token over, show them your barcode, which you can just show them on your phone. You don't have to print it out or anything. And then you get an email a couple of hours later from Parkrun saying, congratulations on completing your parkrun. This was your time. And it's as easy as that.
It's a very well organised system from what I've experienced. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 park runs now, and it's exactly that. I registered online. I wasn't sure if I had to re-register a second time, so I appreciate you clarifying for that. But yeah, you just come across the line, and if you have the energy, you can actually pick up the little tickets and that. But it's not just about running, is it? Because you mentioned you both started running, but you also volunteered as well. What is it? How do people volunteer? What options are available to people?
And they just have to smile and we'll say, yep, we'll put you down.
So be careful not to look at you just in case you get. So you're not voluntarily, you're being delegated, are you?
We do actually offer free training. Yeah. We offer free coffee after it and get to hang out with the cool kids. So.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a number of roles that basically would cover anyone's abilities or interests. So there are more technical roles where you might be the timekeeper, which basically is not hard or scary. You just need a smartphone and be able to tap the screen, essentially. To marshals who stand out on the course and make sure people go in the right direction and be a smiling, cheering face as people go past.
It seems to be a very well-organised system with the technology behind it. Is that fair to say? Because as you said, you go there, or you don't have to re-register every time. Once you've got your barcode, and there's an app as well, I believe, that you can get a little QR code. When you finish, you just hand over your phone, but you show your phone with your barcode on it. They scan that, then they scan the little token that you've got, which then syncs it up to the timekeeper's time, and then you get an email a bit later as well. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that one registration, you get one barcode unless you accidentally register a couple of times, and then that confuses everybody. But that one barcode is your barcode worldwide. So if you've got that on, we usually have the 5K app, which shows us all sorts of stats, and it can get you involved in challenges where you can do a park run for every letter of the name park run or your name.
Oh, wow.
So it becomes a bit of a motivational tool as well. So, and it does get people engaged. You can be as engaged as what you want. You can go and talk to people. You can just be alongside people. We have such a range of different people and their abilities and needs at parkrun. So some might come for 1 or 2 times a year. Some come every week. Some thrive and really look forward to the Saturday. So as you know, that's their parkrun day, not Saturday.
Does everyone look forward to the Saturday? I'm just gleaning from our earlier conversation before we're live on radios. We were talking about maybe we don't feel like doing it and then we get up and do that. Is that part of when you're talking about mental health? Is that a good thing to have? Do you find that from your experience, we were all saying how we didn't like getting up in the morning and doing it. What does that do for people when you don't feel like it, but you go and do the park run and then you get that experience of going, wow, I achieved that?
It's really, it is very good for your mental health. It is hard to get up, especially in the depths of winter when it's cold and it's dark. But once you've done it, once you've done it for a certain amount of weeks, it just becomes that habit.
Yeah.
And you don't even think about it anymore. You just get up, you go and do it, and you may think, oh, why am I doing this? But once you're there and you've got people passing you, cheering you on as you're going, you get to the end and you think, wow, I achieved something great, and you've done it fairly early in the day. You've still got the rest of the weekend. And once you start with a good, positive mindset, it helps carry through the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend.
So I think the key word there you mentioned is habit. How do people go about creating that habit?
Sometimes it's about linking in with friends, or sometimes it's about people finding a place. And I think with Parkrun Newborough in particular, we've had a lot of people that have found their place there. They might not fit into, the basketball or the netball or the, whatever other sports, and they come to Parkrun and they can walk it. We've had people in a running bike. We've had people in frames. We've had, people who have been, quite significantly overweight, and we actually wait for them to complete the course if that's what they want to do. So I think the flow-on effect of our team of volunteers, they're really engaging and encouraging. So it allows people who aren't quite sure to feel comfortable in that environment, that, I'm not going to be judged. I am going to be belonging to a group. I can feel comfortable to return. So I think it is a really awesome group. We've got 7 or 8 run directors, so they're all been in it for quite a while now, which says a lot about it too, because if you don't like something, you don't stick around. So, and those who have stepped down from run director are still certainly there as a runner or a walker, and they participate in the volunteering at times. So,
what is it about the Newborough Parkrun that makes it special? What stood out for me is every time I've been there and I've been talking to people, and I'll bump into somebody who's not from the region. Last week I was there and someone was from Melbourne, and they say they come every second week to this parkrun, and they do parkruns around Australia. And they said this is the most friendly parkrun to go to. It's other runs, everyone's quite focused and really just running, and then they'll go off and after they're finished. Whereas this parkrun, they said people are, and I noticed that as you're running along, as you're running back, people are cheering, going, "Keep going, good on you, well done." And it's like, I'm out of breath. I'd like to say something back, but But they said it's one of the, people from Singapore come and do parkrun here and say it was fabulous. So what is it about the Newborough Parkrun that makes it that little bit more friendly?
Latrobe Valley people, but outside from that, everyone is very friendly, and I think once you get into that mindset of trying to cheer people on, then they in turn cheer people on, and it becomes a roll-on effect that you just get used to it. And don't get me wrong, there are hundreds of parkruns around Australia that are the same, that do have that encouraging mindset. There are some that people are very focused, but yeah, I think we find consistently at Newborough, you will have someone cheer you on as you're running past them, even if they don't know you.
Go ahead, Wendy.
I think too that the fact that it is, in terms of parkrun, not as large as some of the others, I think we actually know who's not a local, and so we're the whole team of run directors and us as co-event directors, we actually spot people and say, "Oh, hi, welcome, how are you? Where have you come from?" So we acknowledge where they're.
Yeah, I remember getting
journey.
questions.
Yeah.
So what are you doing here? What shoe size are you?
Absolutely.
We just want
what role can you fill?
We want everybody to come back, so we want to make them feel as at home as possible.
I think part of the reason I'm asking that question is Latrobe Valley itself, Latrobe City, doesn't always have the best reputation outside of here. And then people come here and they go, "Wow, this is amazing." And I'm just wondering, is that, when we look at it and go, well, how do we promote that a little bit more? Because there is so much like what you're doing with Parkrun, where there's so many wonderful people here doing so many wonderful things. Is that something that you intentionally share with other people that come from outside the region?
Depends on if you encounter the people outside the region. So yeah, it's a bit hard to share what we know is great with people if we're not encountering them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So it just sounds
I think it has copped a bit of a rap, but I always say, there's so many beautiful people here. Everywhere has its people who have their challenges, but if you look for the good in people, you'll find it. If you look for the bad in people, you'll find that too. So I think, people who come to Parkrun are genuinely there because they feel that it could be something for them, that they feel welcome. And then when we see them come back a second time, we know that we've hit the mark. And the third time we're asking them, no, we're not asking to volunteer. But
it's mandatory after that. Exactly.
But, we always
drafted.
acknowledge it. It's great to see you back. So I think that's just, we're fairly people anyway. So I think it's really nice that the people on our team are a lot like that. And it does then infiltrate back out to other parkruns. And like you said, you get the comments like, we really enjoy coming here and it's a really friendly parkrun. So, and then people put that on the Facebook as well, the reviews. So we're pretty proud to have that as, some of our feedback.
And how do we, because you mentioned about mental health and parkrun specifically for mental health as well, amongst a number of other objectives. And today, in today's society with technology, there's a lot of things that say we're the most connected we've ever been in history, but people feel the most alone in history. Is part of that helping people get out and just doing something, running or walking, it's not difficult. We do that every day for the people, able-bodied people. Got to be careful when you say things nowadays. You've got to be. Some people can't walk, but yes, but majority of people walk every day. But this is a way to actually be out and whether it's walking or running, just connect with other people. Is that how much do you think that really is shifting our society now that people are starting to get out there and go for a run or go for a walk in a community group?
I think it's huge. When we looked at some of the stats, there was about 10,000 people more in Australia nationally that participated in Parkrun last week than the same time last year. So it's giving people a purpose. Like I have a daughter who was in a major car accident many years ago, and whilst she can't run, she can walk it, and she does that on occasion, but she loves to come and volunteer. So, she can participate, but it's not about running. And even myself, I don't run the full 5Ks, so I do intervals. So, running the full 5Ks for me with a not so good knee isn't, the greatest outcome for me, but I can do the intervals. So I think it gives people of all ages, abilities, whatever, however you identify, it gives people a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose, and a place where they can feel that they're a part of a bigger organisation.
And how do people, when you look at that, this sense of purpose, how do we encourage others to come out? And you drawing from your experience, Wendy, of your daughter having an accident. I mean, these are, and I think from talking with a number of people there, they've had some trauma at some point in their life. They've worked through that, and they've found connecting with the community is a great way of resolving that trauma, being out there and being part of that. How would you encourage people that might be sitting on the fence going, hopefully not literally, but sitting on the fence and going, well, I'm feeling sad, but how do we take that step, as we were talking about before?
It literally is just taking that step.
Yeah.
And it can be really frightening to go out into an environment, especially if you don't know anybody, and people. I don't know the numbers, but there is a statistic for the amount of people that have registered for Parkrun and have never actually turned up to one. Because taking that very first step and going into an environment where you're unfamiliar and uncomfortable and maybe not confident is really hard. But if people just can try and understand that everyone had that moment as well, and we all took that first step at some point, and if the environment that you're walking into is as accepting as I believe we are at Newborough, it's not so scary. And if they do it the once, and if they have just a little walk and they start to feel that little bit more comfortable, then they will become connected with that community as well.
We also promote, bring a friend, bring your nana, bring your auntie, bring your ex-boyfriend, who cares, as long as you're there and having fun. Yeah. Bring anyone that you can. And we see lots of different groups, and often people will come in pairs. I think we promote a little bit on Facebook, and when you see all the photos, and for every single, we love our photo.
The photographer was very kind last week and caught me as I was struggling to cross the line.
I think too, we have celebration days, and like our Parkrun birthday, and we'll say everybody wear this or everybody wear that.
It's not mandatory though.
No,
not everyone participates when we have dress ups.
Tell us some of the dress ups, because you were saying that before the show we were on air.
Also Christmas Day that just gone, Wendy and I tail walked, which is a volunteer role, which is the person that's right at the back, so the last person across the line, so no one is ever last at Parkrun.
Wendy You're not carrying a whip, I know.
No. Wendy dressed up as Mrs. Claus. I was an elf. I had a speaker. We played Christmas carols.
I remember that.
We sang. We've had all sorts of themes over the years for our birthdays. We had superheroes. There's a lot of tutus get worn at Parkrun.
Yeah.
Globally.
Do they make you go faster?
They do. Red ones especially.
It's just a lot of fun.
It is, because everybody laughs at each other dressed up, and sometimes it might be about, we had one of our Parkrunners celebrate her 500th run recently, and all she wanted, because the Parkrun t-shirt for 500 is blue, so she just said everybody wear blue. So we'll promote that, and that's something easy. It's not a high cost, but it makes people feel, again, part of it.
Part of the community.
Yeah.
And let's come back to the volunteer roles, because not everyone might want to run or walk, but they might want to come to. I know a number of people that sort of have some injuries and that sort of thing. They can't walk much, but they can do some of the different roles. So can you talk us through some of the roles so people could understand what they are and consider whether they could get involved with that?
Yeah, well, barcode scanning is one of the nice, easy ones. You're sitting down. We even provide a cushion. My mum does that role regularly. She has arthritis and a fractured spine, so she can't
So what does the
walk at all.
the barcode scanner's role?
So the barcode scanner is the one that scans the barcode and the little token so that it can marry up in the...
So at the end of the run, so when you're finished, you've got your phone
Yep.
with it, and so the people would come up to you, and all you got to do is see.
Yep, so
how do
you use
they-
your own smartphone. There's a little app that Parkrun provide, and you just scan the barcode, scan the token.
That's
and
simple.
That's that simple.
And you're sitting on a cushion.
Sitting on
A
a
provided cushion.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And you get a free coffee afterwards.
And you get a free coffee afterwards as well.
Lots of friendly faces.
Yeah, the token hander-outerer, that's not the technical
I
term for
like
it,
that term,
but
the hander-outerer.
just stands at the finish line and just hands people tokens as
So
they
you've got
cross
the-
the finish line.
Yeah, and the token, that's got the little barcode on it where it scans,
Yep.
and that syncs up to the timer, is that right? So you've got
Yeah.
a person that scans it, so that's a sitting down role, so someone could do that. Someone standing at the end there with the tokens and just
You can
handing
actually do that sitting as well. We can
Yeah.
provide seating if people need it. If they, like even for timing, if they need it, we can bring a chair out.
One of our most experienced token
hander-outerers.
hander-outerers is the lovely 85-year-old regular.
Okay.
So, and he'll occasionally do a walk,
Yeah.
full 5Ks. So,
Yeah, he walked on Saturday,
yeah.
but he volunteers most weeks. His wife
Mm.
walks. He volunteers nearly every week, and yeah.
Yeah. So you've
we
got the
have
scanner, the
photographer.
hander-outerer,
Yeah,
photographer.
photographer, and you can be as creative as what you wish, and we edit them after.
And we provide the camera.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So so you've got it. So basically, just someone that can hold a camera and point and shoot,
Yeah.
essentially.
We have Marshall to make sure that people are going safely along the track.
Yeah.
We have park walk support. So there are two people. We've got two vests that the volunteers are supposed to be supportive and encouraging of everybody, and they're only supposed to walk. We have the tail walker who carries the first aid kit in the backpack in case we have a spill. We have our run
Timekeepers as
director.
well, is it? Oh, so run director. What does a run director do?
Yeah.
That sounds very important. Sounds very
That's
formal.
very
Terribly
important.
important.
Yes.
Get paid well. We offer to double their wage every week. So they basically
Maths correctly. 0 times 2 still to 0.
yeah,
Yes.
just get extra zeros. So the run director will coordinate the run in the background. So they'll upload the results. They will promote the event for the week. They'll do the Facebook post. We also have a volunteer coordinator. So Jess is awesome and calls out for volunteers across the week to fill our roster. And event directors, which are us two, as in the big bosses.
The big bosses.
The big bosses of the
And
little
you get
park
to do all
run.
the PR. But yeah.
Yeah,
And what
we
does
do
it-
all the park run permits and the insurance and the liability side of things, plus the
There's always that
And we
admin
just-
type stuff, isn't
Yeah,
there?
control of the
Yeah.
run directors, make sure they don't get out of line.
that's
Yeah,
right.
is that where the whip comes in?
Yeah, pull them in for performance management from time to time, but yeah.
And what are some of the upcoming events that you've got for Parkrun? Is there any plan with costumes and things like that people
We-
can check out?
We
That's
do.
secret business at this stage.
Yeah, so our 8-year anniversary is coming up. We'll be holding that on the 22nd of February.
So it's not far away.
Not far away at all, but we have not yet settled on a theme.
I was supposed to say
We're
that. It's
still-
top secret.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So there-
no, it'll be announced on our Facebook page as soon as we come up with something creative.
So 8 years. That's
Have you got any suggestions?
I'm trying to work out what that is as far as, it's not a silver anniversary. What is it? 8-year anniversary?
No, I've
I don't
Googled
know.
it and just got party balloons and children, so
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a good day. Usually someone makes a cake.
Yeah.
So the people who participate that day get to
So
eat
you
cake.
can't
at
say,
the end.
so even
Yeah.
if you're running, you don't have to give up, your favourite chocolates and things
No,
like
no, no.
that.
And it tastes better after you've done
Yeah.
5Ks.
it allows you an extra chocolate because you put in 5Ks, so you get to eat it without guilt.
And are all park runs 5Ks or are there different lengths as well?
No, they are all exactly 5Ks.
Exactly.
Just the time will vary a little bit from state to state. Like Queensland start at 7.
Yeah.
Just
Tasmania
the
start at
heat.
9.
Yeah.
So they're all on and Saturday morning as well. Is that right? So anywhere, and this is part of the thing that's really I find exciting is that anywhere you can go on a Saturday morning, I'm guessing there's a park run nearby somewhere.
Yes.
Usually, yes. Yeah.
You can find them in that little 5K app if you don't know where one is.
Yeah.
It's a couple of quick links and click, and
It's-
there you
it's-
go.
Got a map and we'll show you where they all are.
And what would be, because we're going to wind up shortly, what would be your key wisdom that you would give people for getting involved or being part of Parkrun? What would be the thing that you'd want to leave people with from this show to take their key takeaway?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I've heard that somewhere. You're stealing that.
I actually think you start as a friend and become a family.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah.
really, really sweet.
That's it. There's a lot. Look at that.
I know we've had some situations where people have lost a loved one,
Mhm.
and they say they come to Parkrun even though we go, oh my gosh, and we feel like we just want to break down in tears, but they say, I come to Parkrun because this is my family. So, gives you goosebumps to think that we can support people with anything. We've had births, deaths, marriages. We had weddings. Nothing at
Well,
Parkrun,
we've not had a
Newborough,
Parkrun wedding at our house.
We'll just have to look into that. But yeah.
Okay, I'm glad, and so I've really enjoyed being part of it. I'm kind of a little bit lost for words there because it is the family. I think you covered that really well. It just feels like a family. How to, just before we close again, just remind people how they can get involved with Parkrun. What do they need to do?
So go to parkrun.com.au, hit the register now button. Only takes a minute. Fill in your information. You'll get your barcode emailed to you, or you can download the 5K app, which you can then get your barcode in that as well. And then just come along. 8 a.m. or come at 7:45 on a Saturday morning, ready for an 8 a.m. start.
Or messages if you've got any questions.
Fantastic.
Yeah, jump on our Facebook page, have a look. It's very informative, lots of photos.
So on
lots of smiling
Facebook, search
people.
Newborough Parkrun.
Newborough Parkrun, yep.
Wendy, Sharon, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing what Parkrun is about. I really appreciate sharing that. And people, if you're thinking about it, head down Newborough to the Moe Botanic Gardens Saturday morning just before 8 o'clock and meet the family.
Yay.
Thank you.